Hi, Crime Junkie Jurors. Today is Wednesday, May 7th, 2025, and we just wrapped up day 11 in the second trial of Karen Read. So here's a quick recap of court today and a few of my top court moments. Now, we just had two witnesses today. First up was Trooper Connor Keefe. Now, this one was relatively short on direct and cross-examination. He came in and he showed pieces of the taillight that were found in the CERT search that we heard about yesterday in court, and the shoe of Officer John O'Keefe that they found out there by the road. Now, if you want to go back and watch the full testimony, it starts around 20 minutes into the stream. But one thing was really clear about it. He seemed to really want to kind of distance himself from Trooper Proctor and from Proctor's involvement in the case. Now, there was one kind of big moment that shocked us all. So on cross-examination, Yannetti is talking to him about Proctor, and he said, Trooper Proctor, oh, I'm sorry, former Trooper Proctor, and we were all kind of like, oh my gosh, everybody in chat went a little bit nuts. Big moment. There's also another big moment that I want y'all to see. It was also on cross-examination. So Trooper Keefe told defense attorney David Yannetti that he had no say and nothing to do with Proctor's reports. Take a look.
He was the lead investigator writing the report, correct?
Yes, he wrote this report.
He chose the language to use in that report, correct?
I did not have any input on how he wrote this report.
Right.
Our second witness of the day was Jessica Hyde. She is a digital forensics examiner and professor. And before she was even allowed to take the stand today, the jurors were excused, and Alessi addressed some objections and issues that he had with Jessica Hyde and her testimony. So he references a previous trial and a court where Jessica Hyde actually did some testing to figure out some Apple data, similar to what she did for this. Now, in that trial, it was location data. And in this one, this is all involving like timestamps on the data. But both are involving Apple phones and not having access to how Apple source codes work. So the judge in that trial actually stated that while Hyde is knowledgeable, she is deemed unreliable for this because there's no way to verify what she's stating as being true. So Alessi says it's kind of the same thing here. So he argues to have this excluded, saying she doesn't have the Apple source code. So she's, again, just kind of relying on her own testing to state something as fact. Now, Brennan says Alessi is trying to dehumanize her. And honestly, this was kind of one of those moments where after seeing him yell at the ARCA witnesses, I thought that was a little bit ironic that he's saying dehumanize her. But eventually, Judge Cannoni ruled that Alessi can cross Jessica Hyde on her methodology, but not about the previous court decision. So she takes the stand, and her direct examination went kind of really into the weeds. It was a little bit hard to follow. It's very technical, but she gives us an example that woke us all up when she talked about private browser and searches. Take a look.
So non-private browsing is what most of us use regularly. Private browsing might be what you elect to use. Well, some people would elect to use it if they're doing searches they wouldn't want their spouse to see, like maybe they're looking at porn, or maybe you're doing something secure like looking at your banking information.
Okay, so also during her testimony, there was a lot of kind of back and forth and some sidebars. There were a lot of objections, but there was one time when Alessi asked to approach the judge, and Judge Cannoni allowed it, but watch how she said it.
Judge, Your Honor, may we approach?
It's the last time, Mr. Alessi, on this issue, okay?
So the comments may be a little much. Well, I guess the defense might have said something because when they came back from lunch, she actually addressed the jury about this and kind of apologized.
Jurors, as you know, I think I told you in the beginning, one of my functions is to make sure that a case is tried fairly and efficiently and not to waste anybody's time. So if I get frustrated at lawyers about something, I try not to, and I don't think I am, but if I seem to cut somebody short, the lawyers are just doing their job. when they request sidebar conferences, they've just done the job. I am going to try and keep all sidebar conferences to a minimum, but the lawyers are just doing their job.
I appreciate the apology, although it is kind of funny that she snuck in there that, she didn't think she was being like that, but better than nothing, right? So in the end, Hyde says she believes that the Google search on Jen McCabe's phone didn't happen at 2:27 and that Jen McCabe did not delete any of the phone calls on her phone herself. So that's the end of direct. Then starts the cross-examination by Alessi. Now, y'all, he was on fire today. His cross starts around the 4-hour and 40-minute mark in the live stream if you want to watch the whole thing. And you have to watch chat too. Chat replay will be up. We were all going crazy over this. It was wild. You have to watch it. Now, the biggest argument that he really made, in my opinion, for this entire cross-examination, he asked Jessica Hyde the best practices from start to finish when trying to secure data from a device. So she starts to explain it, and she says to put it in a Faraday bag or in airplane mode. If you haven't heard of a Faraday bag, what it is, it's actually a bag that investigators, detectives, law enforcement, whoever will put phones in. And the type of material that it is actually prevents signals from being sent and received. So it just helps to secure all of the data in the phone until they can do an extraction and analyze it. Was John O'Keefe's phone placed in a Faraday bag? No. It was actually recording data up till noon the next day. And remember, Carrie Roberts picked it up at 6:14-ish and put it in her pocket and then handed it off to a first responder, but she doesn't remember who. And then there's no chain of custody for it at all. So, and it's still recording data. So does this mean that the data could have actually been manipulated? I mean, in my opinion, yeah, that's the whole point of the Faraday bags. That's the whole point of airplane mode. And none of that was done. So that to me is a big problem. All right. The other big moment in all of this, Jessica Hyde verifies that the phone, John O'Keefe's phone, was definitely moving between 12:31:56 and 12:32:16. So why is this a big deal? Well, Ian Whiffen actually testified on day 5 that the prosecution's crash reconstructionist report says that the triggering event, as in when they think John O'Keefe was actually hit by Karen Reed's car, is 12:31:38. So that's the new theory. And John O'Keefe actually unlocked the phone using Face ID after this, and it was still showing movement at 12:32:16. So the timeline continues to be a problem for the prosecution. So it was a big day. Only 2 witnesses, but a lot happened today. So let me know in comments, what were your big moments today? And how do you think today went? Do you think it helped the prosecution more? Do you think it helped the defense more? Do you think it was kind of neither? Let me know. And if you want a full breakdown of everything from the week, I will have a new podcast episode, 13th Juror Podcast. The new episode will be out this weekend. And don't forget, we will be back tomorrow right here live watching day 12. So come join us right here, Crime Junkie Jury.